Hello everybody, it's Christine and it is time to start another 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. This series is actually a best of, so you can check out what she talks about, but basically I think she had everybody vote on sketches and this was the top sketches that got voted on. So as of right now, and I'm recording this kind of early because I did get access to the group this time in time for me to actually prepare in advance. Yay! So this is showing to be day 1 for June. This starts in June 1. So if this changes up, I'll have to change the video order. But at the moment, this is June 1. It was from Series 1, Day 3. It was by Laura Whitaker. And you can kind of see there's 4 little photos. There's some strips behind it and then 3 embellishment clusters. Now, what I've got going on is the April 2022 Scrap Broom Flavors of the Month. And I have Echo Park's New Day collection, and I have these pictures here, so they're not square. I don't know if I can make them square, so we may have to play with this just a little bit. And then I also have this die that I just got. I had been wanting like a photo strip die, and I think I'm going to try to use this, but then I also have these little guys, so I'm going to think on that just a minute. And the nice thing about these Flavors of the Month is it doesn't make me think too hard because I only have 3 sheets of pattern paper. Of course, they do have an A and a B side, so I got plenty of patterns to work with. And then it has this black cardstock, which is kind of neat because the sketch shows a lighter background with some mixed media, but I may come in with some, I'm thinking I'm going to use like white and maybe some lighter shiny ones or something. And then, of course, I only have just a little bit here of embellishments and then like a little tile sticker. So I think this is going to be fun. I do need to kind of think on it. I'm going to cut my pictures up and I'm going to kind of think about what patterns I'm going to use and my stamp situation or my inking stuff. So give me just a minute and I'll be back on camera. Talk soon. Okay, so I've got my black cardstock here, and what I've decided to use is this Stampin' Up! Ink. It's called Whisper White. It's the craft ink. So it's got a thick texture to it, I guess, kind of. And I find, my experience, this has been the best white ink. Well, to be fair, I haven't explored tons of other options, but this has been the best white ink for me to show up as actually on like dark paper. So I've just taken a drinking glass from the kitchen, if I'm honest, and just got the ink on it, and I'm just making little rings. And I know in the sketch it looks a little bit almost like I imagine it's like a wet coffee ring or something like that. It's kind of meant for something along those lines. So I'm just using this drinking glass, and I do have 2 other little paints there. One is it's like a pewter silver. What is it called? It's called brushed pewter, rather, a distress paint. And then the other one that's by Tim Holtz. And then the other one is a Jenny Bolin, it's Ranger at the time. It's called Stick Candy, and it's kind of the green color. And I'm using the little trick. I learned this a little while back if you're watching this in June, it's been a little while now, but I had a scrap lift, and I watched the lady's video. It was Jessica Michaels, and she had this Stampin' Up! Stamp, and it's just kind of like a splat-looking thing. And y'all, I find this to be so much cleaner and more controlled than the packaging technique for me that I really enjoy using this stamp here. So it is sitting on my desk at all times now. And it just helps me keep my ink a little more controlled. I mean, it still looks very like mixed media-y and like almost packaging technique, but it keeps me from going crazy. It keeps me from spilling it everywhere, and it just keeps me better control. So I really like this technique. So I did the green first, and then now I'm going to do this silver. In the end, I will say the silver does stand out more so than the green, but I can still see the green, so I'm okay with it. And you can see I'm kind of going there, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that just jumped right out there at me, but it's okay. I think it looks kind of neat. Now, I will say that lower right circle there gets covered up quite a bit, but I think you can, it's okay. It still goes along with the sketch, so I'm happy with it. So I've created my major splash of paint here, or mixed media here. And I'm going to come in a second and, so that die there, I'm just kind of, at this point, I don't believe I've cut the paper. I'm going to cut the paper in a minute. I haven't cut any of the pattern papers just yet. I'm just looking to see like where the placement's going to be. And then I decide I'm going to make some splatters, the little splatters out of this white crafting. So I put that on my craft mat, get my brush wet a little bit, create my splatters or my liquid stuff here, and I'm just going to start splattering this all over. And I'm really pleased with how this turns out. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that my style is very mixed media, if I'm honest. Like, I don't mind it, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I would gravitate toward it naturally. The sprinkles maybe so, but not so much the paint. So I do enjoy these challenges and these sketches that that have it, because otherwise I probably would never even pull this stuff out that I've bought. So it's kind of nice. And I decided, actually looking at my little design here, that I needed one more little spot of green at the bottom, because I looked at this sketch and it looked to me like there was a little more mixed media coming out the bottom. So I've gone ahead and added some more green down there. And that's what I'm going to do there. I'm going to cut over, though, because this does need to dry for just a second. And now I've gone ahead and cut out my pattern paper. I used there's a B side of one of the Echo Park papers. It has like a I think it's actually on the back side of the plaid, but it's got like a little very subtle cloud pattern, or actually it was rain clouds or something. But when I cut it out with this photo thing, you can barely see it. So it's pretty subtle. I've got this plaid, and then I've got this green on green. And I'm just going to lay my pictures. I did trim those pictures down. They were 2 inches wide, and I've cut them 2 1/4 inches. I couldn't get it to 2 because there's 1 or 2 that if I cut it to 2, it just wasn't going to look right. So I've left it at 2 1/4, and I think that looks fine. I think it looks really cute. I did do kind of a wonky tilted placement so I could kind of shrink the space it took up just a little bit to keep it on my little cut pieces of pattern here. And I'm just still kind of dry fitting just a little bit to see where these things might go, because I've got those extra long pattern pieces that I need to trim back. So I'm going to actually go ahead and create this. Now, at first I had the plaid on top. I ended up putting it underneath. And if I'm honest, if there's one thing I wished I had done and I didn't do, in hindsight, I wished I had, was ink the edges of these papers. But by the time I thought about it, I already had everything glued down, including the little including my little photo strip die cut thing, and I didn't want to mess with all that. So I don't end up inking the edges, but if I had to make one design change, that's what I would for sure do, is ink the edges of those things. Here's where I contemplated adding, because in the sketch it actually looks like there's 3 pattern papers, and I thought about and technically the little photo thing wasn't on there, but in the end I decided, no, I guess that photo piece is going to be my third, quote, pattern paper. And I like how this turns out. So I'm going to take my photos. I'm just kind of organizing, looking to see, okay, where y'all going to go. And I do get my Nuvo glue out because I'm going to glue down that photo strip there. It's a little tricky. I don't actually show this part because I'll cut away after I start the foam on the back, but I'll end up putting foam on the back of this whole like photo element. But the photo piece here is a little tricky because it's so skinny. And look at that, y'all. I ended up moving my thing and my glue didn't stick and all the things. I'm so clumsy. Anyway, I started putting the foam back there and I realized I need to put a little bit of foam, something behind the photo part over there, but it's so skinny. I was able to get my thin foam tape underneath it, but then one piece I did have to trim really tiny for it to work. But in the end, I think it works pretty good. And the reason I did that is because when you look at this sketch, it actually looks like a little shadow is created. So I'm imagining that's supposed to be 3D. That's what I did in my mind anyways. Besides that, I put foam on just about everything. So anyways, so these little photos here, I think I made the comment in a video, again, you're watching this in June, so this is going to be a couple months back, but I made some comment about having done a little mini photo shoot with me and my daughter. We just opened our nutrition club, and it was, not grown yet, so there wasn't enough people coming in. So we were a little bit slow, and we just did ourselves a little mini photo shoot, and we just looked so cute. I was happy about it. Okay, that's where I cut away. I had put the foam on the back of the foam element, and I did do the foam tape on the back of the photo strip there, but you didn't need to see all that, and that saves us about 3 minutes of film time. So, but I did let you see that I started to put the foam on the back there. Now, this is where I'm taking my photos. I'm just kind of organizing them a little bit wonky to give them a little visual interest here. This whole layout is it's got a lot of movement to it, with the mixed media, with the wonky, with the angles, and if I'm 100% honest, in her sketch, I don't think there was as many angles going on, but I think it's okay. I decided to reinterpret that just a tad. So I do have this little strip with the rainbows. Some of that gets covered up. I did find, so not all of this came in my scrap room kit, I will tell you. So with the scrap room kit, I did get the, there's going to be some title letters in a minute. I got that. And then I got the ephemera pieces, but I did have to stash dive just a little bit. So I got that little happy, happy, happy off of, I think it was actually a previous scrap room kit, but I pulled that out. I had that label up there, which came off the same sticker sheet. You can see that sticker sheet's right there, that oh hey on it. That's the sticker sheet. I did find these Maggie Holmes. I think it's Maggie Holmes. They're kind of old, but they're flowers. And the sketch did have a couple of flowers in there. So I pulled these out, kind of focusing on the colors, see if I couldn't find something that went with it pretty well. And I ended up finding kind of a hot pink or like a darker pink. And then I find like a little, I don't know, it's like a yellowy, it's a real pale color with some yellow center to it that's up there right now behind the title, which is Living Our Best Life, although I do add We Are to that title ephemera there. So that ephemera, that rainbow thing, and yeah, I have A Perfect Day down there. Those were all in my little scrap room kits. So I'm pretty pleased though. I dig in, like I said, I found those flowers there. I tried this thing here where it says, I think it says not afraid to try or something like that. I couldn't get it to work. It just wasn't going to go up there right. And I didn't really want to cover up the happy any more than I had to, so I decided against that one. I did find this little puffy, lovely day. That works out well because the other two circles, now the sketch looked like maybe buttons, but I find two other little chipboard circles. One just says yes and one's just a flower. And you can see those sitting there already as well. So I'm kind of organizing my little pieces here. I'm really pleased with how this is coming out. I mean, it's definitely fun. Like there's a lot going on here. All right, and then I got this flower here. I decided, oh, I need to put you up there because I thought I had too much of a gap on that corner. It looked a little odd. So I'm just kind of organizing, and in a second I'm going to go ahead and start gluing stuff down here. I do put foam tape underneath A Perfect Day and Living Our Best Life. I put foam tape up underneath that. And then the Lovely Day, I have to put a little bit of foam tape underneath it just to make it the right level. I also find, in a minute, I'm going to find this foam sticker that says, "You got this." And I think it's neat because it's like the little bubble dome tea looking thing, or I guess it's normally like a boba tea, but we sell teas as well in those same type of cups or shakes and things. And so I kind of like these little cup looking things. They just seem to match to me the whole where we are and stuff. If we know where we're at, and we would look at that and go, oh, that's so cute, it kind of matches. So I did use my Nuvo glue on my little puffy sticker. I will come back in a minute and stick a little piece of foam tape under the bottom part there because it kind of looks like it'll sink otherwise. And I put foam tape, like I said, first I'm going to glue this flower and this leaf down. And I'm going to come back in a second with my Perfect Day here, and I'll put some foam tape. And I bring it up to meet that yes little chipboard sticker there. And all these colors go pretty well, not even though they're not all technically from the same collection. The only thing is the collection, the little ephemera came with like little blue enamel dots. And when you look at the collection itself, it looks great. Like if you, the blue, the flowers and stuff in the patterns. But the only blue I had really going on here was the stripe and the plaid. And I didn't really think the blue dots go well. So I do end up stash diving for my enamel dots. And so you'll see that in just a minute as well. Here's where I'm kind of making my way around, putting my foam tapes where they need to go. And I'm pretty pleased with how this is going. Are y'all guys, I'm so sorry for the pause there. I hate these when these texts will pop up and it's like, oh, what's that text saying? I'm like, I'm recording, Christine, don't get distracted. What am I doing right here? I can't really see. Oh, I'm putting that little piece of foam tape up underneath there. Are you guys playing the 30 Days of Sketches this time? This is to be my third series, and I have just loved it. Every single time I do this, I get so much done, and I'm really challenged, and I really love it. And it actually has made me, well, this is going to sound terrible, but the last one here in March had a bunch of hexagon sketches. There was like hexagons in the sketches, and I didn't have any hexagon dies or punches or anything. And I got some good suggestions about maybe, printing it off on the internet and then tracing and that sort of thing. But I'm just too lazy, I think. My printer is not hooked up all the time. So to actually print something is kind of a pain in the hiney. And I was just too lazy. So I went and bought some hexagon dies. It made me realize what I needed. I'm terrible. It's okay. Anyway, this is where I've got the foam. I'm putting that up underneath Living Our Best Life. And then I'm going to go here and get this. There's that little cup of the little drink looking thing. It says, "You've got this" on there. The flowers are a tad darker. The teeny little flowers are a little bit darker, but it's so tiny. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not like you stare at it and go, oh my gosh, those flowers are dark. So I think that looks cute. This is where I find the We Are, and this was in my little scrap room flavors of the month. And first I just stick it out there kind of normal, like we are, just in a line with each other. And then I go, well, that's a little bit too big, and I don't really care for that. So I start to reorganize it, and I started to organize it where it was they didn't touch. And then when I started doing the R, I realized, no, you're going to kind of almost have to overlap a little bit. So they're a little wonky, a little overlapped, just like the photos. It's kind of an homage to the photos. So I come back and reorganize that just a little bit. And I like how that looks. Now, I did leave myself a little booger on that label, so I'll have to come back, but that's okay. This is where I'm looking at the little enamel dots, and I realized, no, that color is not going to work. So I run over to my stash, and I grabbed me some enamel dots. I believe this was from Pink Fresh happy hearts, as I recall. The packaging's laying right there, but it's too little. Well, I say that it's laying right there. I don't know where it's at. I got so much crap on my desk right there. But anyway, I think it's these Happy Hearts Pink Fresh. And I do like how those colors go together. And I find 3 little colors, and I was able to use the same size of the same color in each little cluster. I didn't do the variety, so you can kind of see I'm going to build these little dots going on. I didn't add any sprinkles on top of these ephemera because I already had so much mixed media going on, so I did not add anything else to that. I'm just going to add these enamel dots, and then that's going to be the end of this layout. I think this turned out really cute. I sent a picture to my daughter, and she's like, oh, I love it. It is a little bit, like I said, mixed media / energy high, movement in the layout, but I like how it looks. I'm going to slow this down so you guys can see the close-ups, and you'll see the dimension and that sort of thing. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching. I should have a video every day unless something majorly wrong goes wrong, but otherwise I was able to do it last time, so I expect to be able to do it this time. So keep watching, like and subscribe, and get the little notification bell so you can see when it gets uploaded. All right, talk soon. Bye.